By this time, you all should have gotten started on your third creative task, which I'm really, again, very excited to see all of the wonderful work that you guys create. But before you guys really get started and dive in, I wanted to introduce you to a new concept that we haven't talked about officially and hasn't been in any of the CS Academy notes. It's further on in Unit 6, but it's something that I believe would be really, really helpful for you as you're working on your project. So let me just talk really quickly. So a group, according to CS Academy, is a collection of shapes that are treated as a single shape. And I'm going to give an example. Shout out to Julian and Danny, who used rocket ships in their very first creative task. And in their creative task, they added an animation so that the rocket could move into the sky. So they drew a little rocket, pretend there's a little rocket here on the screen, and then the rocket just blasts off into the sky. In order to do that, they needed to use a group, which is a really helpful technique. Well, I wouldn't say technique, a really helpful function. That's what it is. A group is a function that allows you to take a bunch of shapes and put them all together into one shape so that you can easily move all the shapes at the same time. Okay, so with that said, we're going to scroll down to look at this example here. Here's this first example. Okay, another birthday shout out to Jemiah and Manuel, who have birthdays this week. Let me just go ahead and run this code here. This is an example of a group. Here, all I did to make this, and this is why groups are so powerful, all I did to make this was, here, I'll kind of undo my work. First, I just wrote the code for my birthday hat. That's it. You'll notice that if I run this, it's the same thing. Okay? I just wrote the code for my birthday hat. And then all I did was this. And here, let me delete these commas because normally you wouldn't put those commas there. I used this function called group, and I wrote capital G, R, O, U, P. I write my open parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and write my end parentheses. I don't have to write it here on this line, but I'm going to do it just to make it a little, to make my code look a little cleaner. Okay, and then all I do is just add a comma after every shape except the very last shape. What this is doing is very similar to how you've used rect, circle, oval, line. Each of these shapes is being used as an argument in the group function. And we know that we put commas in between each of our arguments. So that's what's happening here. And then I just go ahead and give my group a name. You don't have to. However, you will definitely want to once we get further on and once I show you a couple of other examples. So I'm just going to give it a name, birthday hat. And birthday hat is a variable, so I'm going to write equal sign afterwards. Group. There we go. So now I have a group, and this is going to become important in the next part that I just show you in a moment. So now I have this wonderful birthday hat here. And what makes this really helpful is, let's say I wanted to add some animation here and I wanted to rotate my birthday hat. Instead of having to move every single shape and move every single shape here, the polygon, the label, and the star, all I have to do is rotate one shape, birthday hat here. So when I run this, there we go. My birthday hat rotates. But normally what I would have to do is, let's say I didn't have this code here, so let me do some undoing here. Oops, maybe I did a little too much. Okay, all right. Let's get it back to what it was normally. Now normally, if I just tried doing the rotate angle on one shape, only one shape rotates. So then it becomes a little awkward here, and then you have to do some more work. So that's the beauty of using groups. Let me just go ahead and show you guys another example here. And we don't need this anymore, so I'll just go ahead and comment it out. Another example here, just to show you again how we go ahead and make groups, is here I've written code to create a snake. And this isn't the most artistic snake. This is like my best ability to, well, I shouldn't say best ability. This is my attempt to make a snake here. So I'm going to run this code here. And here we go. This is my snake. I've added some comments here so you guys get an idea of what is doing what. This is the body, the head, the tongue, and the curves. The curves are this little part right here to make the snake. Okay. Now, again, let's say I wanted to move normally, let's say I just normally wrote the code like I'm doing right now. If I wanted to move the snake over to the right side of the screen, like over here, I would have to go through and I would have to change some multiple coordinates of the circles, the lines, the oval, in order to get the snake to move around. But now, because I have this group here, and again, now I'm going to comment this out. Okay, I've made this snake blue or cyan in order to distinguish this a little bit better. Let's see. Now, I took the same code. There's really nothing different that I did here. All I did was add this line here to say snake equals, and then I wrote this capital G group, parentheses, parentheses, okay? Parentheses at the top, parentheses at the bottom. As you are writing your code, you can like use this example to kind of like help frame your own code. And then I added a comma after each shape, except the very last one, okay? Run it. Okay, so this is my new snake with the group. And now, if I want to change my code so that the whole snake moves over to the right, I can just write snake.centerx plus equals 50. There we go. So now my snake moves over. And as you guys get started with animation soon, this is going to become really, really helpful because let's say you want to add an animation that allows your snake, well in my case, snake, to slither across the screen or use an event handler like on mouse press to change a group of your shapes. Then all you need to do here, again, is create your group. And now you can just say, in my case, I'm going to say snake.centerx plus equals 10. And now whenever I click, my whole shape is going to move over to the side. Again, this isn't the most artistic snake here. There's a better way that you can make a snake look like it's slithering. But, that's my example. Okay, so again, so just to really recap here, we use groups whenever we want to take a bunch of shapes and put them together and treat them as one single unit. Let's say you have a house in your creative task. Let's say you have a bear. Let's say you have a person. It's really helpful to be able to use a group. Now, all you need to do to use a group is, like I did up here, write group. Well, first you're going to write your actual code. Pretend like you don't know anything about groups. Just write your code normally, as you would. Then you're going to write group with a capital G. You're going to write a parentheses at the top, a parentheses at the bottom, and then you're going to write a comma after each single shape except the last one, okay? Because each of these shapes is an argument to this function called group. And we know from our experience with rect, circle, oval, line, that we separate our arguments, like here, in this example, we separate our arguments with commas. Okay. All right, well, I hope this video is helpful, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all the great work that you guys do in this next step of your creative task. All right, good work, and again, please let me know if you have any questions, and I would appreciate any feedback that you have on this video. Thanks.